It was a late Tuesday night, close to closing time at the local Walmart. I was on autopilot, grabbing the usual stuff: milk, bread, the frozen dinner that promised a taste of Italy in 10 minutes. As I rounded the corner into the meat aisle, a strange feeling washed over me. The air hung heavy, the fluorescent lights buzzing louder than usual. I stopped, pushing my cart ahead slowly. There, in the center of the aisle, a man stood hunched over a display of steaks. He was dressed in a stained white butcher's coat, a bloody apron tied around his waist. In his hand, a long, wickedly sharp boning knife gleamed under the harsh lights. Something about the way he held it, the way his entire body seemed coiled with tension, sent a jolt of fear through me. I froze, unsure if I should make a run for it or call for help. The man hadn't noticed me yet, completely absorbed in his task. He wasn't selecting steaks, though. He was meticulously carving something onto the raw flesh, a symbol, intricate and dark, that sent a shiver down my spine. The deserted supermarket aisle, the sterile hum of the lights, the cold seeping from the meat display cases, all amplified the growing terror in my gut. My mind raced with questions. Who was this man? What was he carving? And why here in the dead of night? Just as I worked up the nerve to back away, the man's head snapped up. Our eyes met. A flicker of recognition crossed his face, then a chilling smile stretched across his lips. He mouthed a single word: "Welcome." The fluorescent lights flickered and died, plunging the aisle into darkness. The last thing I heard was the soft thud of the knife hitting the metal display case, followed by a wet, sickening scrape. As the darkness enveloped the aisle, panic surged through me like a tidal wave. My heart raced as I fumbled for my phone, fingers trembling as I struggled to unlock it. But before I could even dial for help, a faint glow emerged from the far end of the aisle. My breath caught in my throat as the light grew brighter, revealing the silhouette of the man standing amidst the shadows. His figure seemed to sway with an otherworldly grace as he approached, the eerie glow casting elongated shadows that danced across the walls. I backed away slowly, my mind screaming for me to run, to flee this nightmare unfolding before me. But my feet felt rooted to the spot, as if held in place by some unseen force. The man's footsteps echoed like ominous drums in the darkness, drawing closer with each passing moment. And then, just as I felt his presence looming over me, the lights flickered back to life with a sudden burst of brilliance. I blinked against the harsh glare, my eyes struggling to adjust to the sudden change. And when I finally managed to focus, the man was gone, as if he had never been there at all. Shaken to my core, I stumbled out of the aisle and towards the checkout counters, my mind reeling with disbelief. But as I approached the front of the store, a chill ran down my spine. There, standing behind the register, was the same man from the meat aisle. His eyes bore into mine with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine, and I recoiled instinctively. "Did you find everything you were looking for?" he asked, his voice smooth as silk, but laced with an underlying menace that made my blood run cold. I nodded weakly, desperate to escape the suffocating grip of fear that held me in its grasp. But as I turned to leave, his voice followed me like a whispered curse. "Until we meet again," he murmured, his words hanging in the air like a lingering shadow. I fled from the store, my heart pounding in my chest as I raced towards the safety of the outside world. But even as I stepped into the cool night air, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had stumbled upon something far more sinister than I could ever have imagined. And as I glanced back at the darkened storefront, a sense of dread washed over me like a wave, leaving me haunted by the memory of that fateful encounter in the dead of night.